Hey Matt here. I'm chilling with my kangaroo friends. I'm gonna see if I can video them for you. They're a bit off in the distance. Maybe you're not able to see them. But today's video it's gonna be about how you can learn, right? And how to engage in intellectual ideas. So my story engaging in intellectual ideas probably starts with my father, who is very much on the autism spectrum, very passionate about interesting ideas, spends a lot of time researching different subjects, never really understands any of them though. Being smart and knowing things is a big part of his identity, and this gets in the way of him being able to interact with ideas, because for him these ideas are about how smart he is, and he needs to be smart to feel good about himself. That's his deal. And because of this, he's done some very strange things. He used to run a business called Science Out of the Box because he used to be a high school science teacher. So he'd go to different schools with his little boxes, and each box would have a series of little experiments. There was like a blow-up solar system, which was like 100 meters long to scale with the solar system, and there was like a little tennis ball for Earth, a big blow-up thing for Jupiter, and massive blow-up thing for the Sun, these kinds of things. But a lot of what he was doing with these boxes was a little bit strange. He was a New Earth creationist. He believed the world was 5,000 years old, and he had a lot of really quacky beliefs like this. And you wouldn't be able to talk him out of them because his beliefs formed a big part of his identity. And this stopped him from being able to learn and to engage with intellectual ideas in a good faith kind of way, where bad ideas can be thrown out, and over time, through humility and understanding that he doesn't understand everything, he doesn't need to be the smartest guy on the planet. Eventually, he can figure out what things are really like. And I grew up in that environment, and for a while I was a bit of being right about things was a bit part of my identity. People who knew me when I was younger would have seen me as a bit of an arrogant twat, and more so because I had issues with a lot of my dad's beliefs. I spent a time as sort of cringe kind of teenage atheist, and I stayed in that developmental stage for probably a bit longer than just my teenage years. Now, that wasn't the only thing he did. He also created a program called personality budgeting, and after I ended up studying psychology for a while, I learned about all the different statistical methods we use, learned about the actual study of personality, realized that his program was based on complete bullshit theory, and he didn't understand much about personality at all, and you wouldn't be able to talk him out of it because being right and being smart was the core of his identity. Now, I've spent a little bit of time studying, and I don't claim to be an expert in any field. I don't really have a field. When it comes to psychology, I was completing a certification process to be able to practice as a psych in Australia. I do not have a research background outside of an honours thesis. I've done some formal training in a lot of different disciplines, including economics, economic history, psychology. I did a couple of anthropology units, got a major in human resource management, and because I'm autistic, I've got my special interests as well. I find ideas about psychoanalysis particularly interesting, and the same with economics and modern day politics. Now, because I've had some formal training in research, I know the process for research, and I can interpret an academic paper in front of me. I'll be able to see gaps in the literature if I wanted to. I'll be able to interpret the methodology, and if someone wanted me to, or if I wanted to, if I had a proclivity for it, I could work as a research assistant in an institution such as the CSIRO. I could be a statistician at various government departments, a junior statistician or something like that. I wouldn't oversell it, but I can do that work. I'm at a point where I can be trained into these things because I know where my ignorance is, and I have enough actual skills to be able to learn. I know the process. I know what's in front of me. And when I engage with social theory, it comes from this kind of place of humility. I don't pretend to be an expert in anything I'm doing here, particularly with Taco. When I talk about psychoanalysis, when I talk about abstract idealism, these are things which are my hobbies. These are my special interests. Sort of the same way that your grandpa might have his stamp collection, or might have a particular interest in like some bizarre Cold War espionage thing. Well, I'm sort of the same, except the difference between myself and my father is that I have the humility to know where I'm ignorant, and from this I'm able to, over a long period of time, develop a large knowledge base and develop actual useful skills, regardless if those skills are certified by a university or not, or other institution. Well, just going forward, being humble, knowing where my skill set begins and ends, allows this envelope of ability to over time expand. And because I've got a large amount of practical, real world experience, I'm able to remain grounded. I've got friends who kind of were chasing an identity. They wanted to be that very smart person, so they went straight through and they did their doctorate. And you're not able to tell them that they're wrong about something, because them being an intellectual and a proper certified one is a very important part of their identity. Now, I don't think I'd ever want to work at a university. I think they're very miserable places, and you have to really want to make it part of your identity to go through with it. I'd love to, if I had all the time in the world and all the money and resources, I'd love to do a doctorate studying psychoanalysis and social psychology. That's what really interests me. It's a special interest of mine. But I never want to be one of those people who makes their career out of publishing papers. I'd enjoy teaching a class, but the constant grind of it would destroy me. Honestly, I'd much prefer to do evaluation consultancy for the private sector or for the government. That's where research methods pay the best, and it also gives a much better work-life balance. And best of all, you actually get to do something. Now, I kind of rub formal intellectuals the wrong way, because they've got this identity. They need to think of themselves as, they put all the effort into doing their PhD. They've dedicated themselves to this life of misery, right? And they need to feel good about themselves, and they don't like people like me who are these people who have a special interest in these things. Well, some of them do anyway. Now, because of this, I get a bit of hate. I know exactly what my skill set is, but more than that, I'm grounded and I've got real world experience. I've dealt with real problems, and more than that, I'm more culturally effective, more culturally significant, gotten more actually done than most of these jealous brats. So if you call me a Sood, you can call me a Sood, that's fine. I'm not pretending to be more than I am, but let's be real here. I've gotten the stuff done. You've probably got a couple of papers with maybe 5 or 10 citations on them. So shut the fuck up, right? Grow up, get in the real world. Anthony Albanese is not an expert on every part of government, but his job is to talk and listen to people and know where his expertise begins and ends. And I see myself a little bit like Anthony. I understand what skill sets I have. I'm able to listen to people who may know what they're talking about. I'm able to figure out if they're likely full of shit. I'm able to keep going from that because I'm humble and I'm oriented in a particular direction, and my identity is not based on being the smartest guy in the room, unlike many of the brats that I have had to deal with. Have a lovely day, everyone.